Hey everybody, today I'm going to be showing you how to make bread pudding with cinnamon rolls left over from Christmas. So stay tuned, I'm going to show you step by step how to make that. Okay, let's get our ingredients out. You're going to need some old bread. So I'm using some old cinnamon rolls, some old bread that I had from a reduced sale there, 3 eggs, 2 tablespoons of butter. You're going to need some vanilla or imitation vanilla, and you can use some walnuts or any kind of nut that you like, or even raisins. Those are optional. Ground cinnamon. You're going to need some milk, 2 cups. You can find the actual measurements in my description. Some spray for the pan, 1/2 cup of white granulated sugar. And so you're going to need like a little baking dish. I'm using an 8x8 square dish, but you can use whatever you have. You're going to need a mixing bowl and a whisk and some aluminum foil for this recipe. So let's go ahead and start by spraying our pan. And then now we're just going to cut up our old bread. So I've cut up my cinnamon rolls. I had quite a bit of cinnamon rolls. I don't know, maybe not so many, but I had about 4 cinnamon rolls left over from Christmas. So I've cut those up. And I also had a little bit left over from a French bread that I had bought on reduced sale. So I've also chopped that up. And so you're going to put it in little square pieces, and then you're going to go ahead and put them directly into your 8x8 baking dish or whatever size baking dish you're using. And now we're going to come over to our mixing bowl where I have 3 eggs. Go ahead and crack your 3 eggs and put them in there. You're going to start whisking those 3 eggs together. And so whisk them real good together. Then we're going to mix in our next ingredients. So get those all ready for yourself. While we're doing this, you can start preheating your oven. You're going to preheat it to 350 degrees. So now I'm going to add in my milk. It's 2 cups of milk. And whisk that together with your eggs real well. You're going to want all of these ingredients to be really incorporated really well. This is going to create your pudding mixture that's going to create the bread pudding. So this is a great recipe to use up your leftovers. I really like to use up all of my leftovers. So I know that I had a little bit of cinnamon rolls, and that's when I thought, this is the recipe I'm going to use. So now get your vanilla, and you're going to do a teaspoon of vanilla. And incorporate that into your milk and eggs really well. You can use actual vanilla or Mexican vanilla, whatever you have. Now we're going to put in our sugar. This is 1/2 cup of white granulated sugar. And you're going to want to make sure that this sugar is really mixed in well. So go ahead and whisk that in there for a while until you don't feel any of the sugar anymore and it's incorporated into your liquids. So even though my cinnamon rolls do have some icing on them and they do have probably some sugar in there, I've made this before and it really is just fine. It's not too sweet or anything like that. So you're fine if you do already have some sugar in your cinnamon rolls. Okay, so now we're going to put in some cinnamon. You're going to do a teaspoon of cinnamon into your mixture here and go ahead and just mix that together as well. You can also use nutmeg if you would like. That's optional. That sometimes gives it a good flavor as well, but I'm just going to use some cinnamon. I want to kind of leave this recipe kind of basic because my cinnamon rolls already have a lot of flavor to them. If you're not familiar with these cinnamon rolls, I have a recipe here on this channel called the Clone of Cinnabon. These are the best cinnamon rolls I have ever made, and I have been making these cinnamon rolls for years now, so I really recommend you check that recipe out after this video. Okay, so now you're just going to pour your mixture over the bread, just like so, as even as you can. and then you're going to wash your hands, and with your hands you're going to just press down on the bread so that it gets all soaked. If you prefer to use a spatula or something like that, you can do that as well. Once all of your bread is soaked and you can see that there is, you know, some of that mixture all throughout your pan, you're going to go ahead and let this mixture soak for 10 to 15 minutes. You can just leave it on your counter. And so all of your bread will soak in the pudding mixture. So you're going to have an even bread pudding. You can cover it up if you'd like so that nothing gets on it. Once you're done letting it soak, what I've done is I've added in my walnuts. This is optional. You can add in walnuts or raisins, whatever you like. Now you're going to melt the 2 tablespoons of butter, and you're just going to pour that evenly over the top of your mixture that now has the nuts or the raisins or whatever you choose to put on it. Now it's getting ready to bake. We need to cover it with foil. So cover your pan completely with foil on the top. That's what it looks like. And then you're going to put it in the oven at 350 degrees for 25 minutes. Put it in the center rack and just set your timer and then come back in 25 minutes. I find this recipe to be quite simple. So now it's out of the oven, and I'll show you what it looks like here. You're going to go ahead and take the foil off. That's what it looks like, but we're not done yet. Now that the foil has come off, you're going to go ahead and bake it in the oven once again for 25 minutes, and you're going to keep the temperature at 350 just as it's been. Without the foil on the top, there on the center rack, you're going to set a timer for 25 minutes. And this is what it looks like when it comes out. It's a little bit more browned. And so this is optional, but you can create a glaze for your bread pudding using powdered sugar and milk. You can make it as thick or thin as you've liked. And then you're just going to pour it on top. And depending on your glaze, if it's thick enough, you can just let it sit on the counter and it'll just glaze by itself. I like to bake it in the oven, and that way when it comes out, it has this kind of crispy top. So I'm baking it in the oven for about 10 more minutes with the glaze on there. And this is what it looks like when it comes out. It smells and looks so good. And if you were to touch it, like I say, it has this crispy glaze. Yum. Thank you so much for watching. That is the cinnamon roll day-old bread pudding. Thank you for watching.